Hi, Jenny. How are you?
Hi, Laura. Nice to meet you again. And
Yeah,
I'm really good. You?
yeah. Hey, thank you so much for coming on board. This has just been such an amazing experience, I know for myself, but I think that every time I'm talking to somebody at the end of it, both of us are coming off with so much positivity and just so much peace around what it is that's actually currently going on for us at the moment. I thought perhaps that how we could start this would be, if you wanted to, just to say a little bit about yourself, maybe where you're based, what you do for work if you want, and then we'll get started on how you're managing and what you're doing with your time right now.
Okay. Well, my name's Jenny. I'm 55-year-old town planning consultant. I work for myself, and I'm sitting in this beautiful old farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, kind of isolated by choice before the virus hit, and using my wonderful fresh air to go and do bike rides and try and dig a garden. I'm not sure how long that will last because it's turning into winter here soon and sort of becomes monochromic in color.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful, beautiful place, and it's good for the soul. And I think I'm very lucky to be able to be here. But I'm also quite a social person, and so the things that I used to do was go to cafes and hang out with singing people and groups of people and go and do things. And now all of those things have been cancelled, and my plan to have an adventure overseas is probably cancelled. And so I'm thinking, okay, what will I do to entertain myself? And I just have to keep working. And so my sort of trying to stay healthy is about doing work based at a computer, which is bad for everybody, but I have to do it.
Yeah.
And trying to get exercise without going somewhere social that I can't go. So I guess, yeah, that's sort of my challenge at the moment. So I'm trying to do biking and walking and things, and wheelbarrow loads of firewood because I'm going to need that soon. It's getting pretty cold here.
Yeah. And I think that actually brings up a really valid point around, this is a time now where we can be like, oh, everything I've worked towards in my life, I've worked so hard for this job, I've worked so hard for my house, I've worked so hard to be healthy, I've gone on diets, I've been exercising, I've been, looking at everything else, and now this has happened. What? What's
Yeah.
going on? Why has this happened? And so, like you say, this is a good opportunity for all of us, and probably a challenge as well, is to not let go of all of that,
Mm.
and to not think that this is the end, but rather how, given the change in our circumstances, do we still continue to be healthy, and do we still continue to be active?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I've sort of just got into this thing of trying to. I've always been reasonably healthy and aware of nutrition, but I've kind of learned a lot more lately, um, and just kind of embraced it more. And I like who I've become, or the new version of me. I liked me before, but I like me even more. And um, it's like suddenly I had this opportunity. I feel like I had an opportunity to go out and talk to people about it. And now this is the way. I guess now we're doing it in an isolated way, and
Yeah.
have to look at it as positive. The thing that I'm finding is I feel this strange calmness that it's good, but I'm aware that other people are frightened and aware that there's panic buying, and that there are things in the newspaper and there's things on TV, and I don't have very good TV reception, so I don't watch TV, so I'm missing all that. I don't get the paper, and then I find out stuff on Facebook, and I think, oh, maybe I should be a bit more aware, but I'm just not circulating. And then I suddenly think, I've actually got to do that. I've got to learn
Mhm.
that I'm not meant to be circulating. It's
Yeah.
like I'm withdrawn from it, and I'm having to click in and go, it's actually happening out there, and I am affected by it. I'm not unaffected. I think I've kind of gone. I can't put two hands up because I'm holding the iPad with the other
Yeah.
one, but blinkered look.
Yeah.
I'm just conscious that I don't want to sound like I'm not aware of it, because I am aware of it.
Yeah.
But sorry, I went waffle there, but
No, and I think when you mentioned that you were almost isolated before all of this happened, that there is a lot to be said for having space around you, and for not, if you're in the middle of a city, for example, where you are living in an apartment block and you are passing people all the time, and you're in the lift as as the people who you would normally have been fine to be in the lift with, but now we've been told about social distancing, you've got to keep a meter apart, and don't go out and all that. There's going to be a lot of people who don't have that sense of space and ability to move as much as potentially what it is that you're feeling. So you're in a really fortunate space where you're able to still get out, and not bump into anybody and not have to worry about the awkwardness around saying, listen, we're going to have to keep apart from each other, or I can't hug you today. Just a quick virtual hug as I say hello to you. It's just it's really interesting times. But I think that if you are in that position to be able to continue with your life as you know of it, and still be safe and still be looking after yourself, then you're in a really fortunate space. And there's going to be plenty of people out there who are like you. And I don't think it's something that you need to negate or something that you need to feel bad about or feel sorry about, because this is where you were before. The virus didn't allow you to become like this,
Yeah.
And so I think it's about honoring that. And I think it's about being really grateful as well, because, gratitude just gets us so much further, doesn't it, in life?
I think I lived in Wellington for 25 years, and I've moved to Central Otago it's virtually in the middle of nowhere. And I chose to do that because I was over the big city thing. I've done it. I've proved it. I don't need to prove it anymore. And I'm very lucky. My work is cloud-based, so I just need to deal with district plans and regional plans online, and I can talk to people on the phone. And I was just getting to this thing where the phone's not great coverage here. It's all relies on the internet, and I've got very clever internet connection, but you get a foggy day and the radio receiver doesn't quite work so well. And you think, I sound a chipmunk. So it's this is amazing, this technology that we're all able to sit in our living rooms and talk to each other all around the world and share and help each other. But that I suppose I chose to be isolated, but also have the opportunity to go out and see people and do things and keep doing things. And so I guess that's my challenge, is to be able to keep my original plan is to still not feel like I'm being a hermit, but keeping myself and everybody else safe. And so that's in the back of my mind. And then today a thing popped up. There's a group of people that I don't even know them, but in my community, and they've set up a messenger group where they've linked all the people that they know, and then they've added other people, and that way we can all deliver groceries to each other's gates and or help people out. And I thought, what a lovely idea. Like, I don't even know some of these people, but I'd like to help. There's people who come back from overseas who are isolating and they're bored as anything, and I feel like saying, should we bring a crate of wine and drop it in the middle of the road for you? I mean, some of it, we're at a joking stage at this point, but there are people that are older that do need help, and we're actually being told we can't go and see them. One of my friends, he actually goes and visits an elderly gentleman at a retirement home, and he said he's been told he's not allowed to now because they're at risk. And so these people aren't getting visited anymore. They were lonely before. It must be way worse. And so I just, it would be lovely to think of what other ways can we do? Can we go and talk to them through a window, or I don't know. I haven't kind of got my head around the things that we can do, but there's so many people that need help, that will need help through this, who will be frightened. I don't feel frightened yet. I feel I want more hand sanitizer than there is in the world, but I don't anymore, and I'm just trying to find ways with granola and water. Been topping how to get the right ratio so that it might be useful, but I haven't done it yet. I'm just staying at home washing my hands with soap.
When you mentioned there about our elderly community, potentially, if not them, their parents, they would have gone through wars. They would have gone through really, really big things, and there's potentially quite a bit that's actually still with them from that they then have this. There's a lot of fears that might actually be coming up, and a lot of repressed emotions and memories and everything that would be coming up. And so when you mentioned about maybe there's a way that we can actually connect with them, talk through a window, This kind of forum that we're using now would be an amazing way as well. It's not as good as actually being physically in the same room, but it's real. It's in real time. You can see the other person. You can have a laugh with the other person. And I think if we reflect back on how society has become, people don't have landlines anymore. We don't go around and visit people as much anymore. We don't answer calls. We see a phone call coming through and we're like, just look away while it's ringing. And it stopped ringing. Okay, whew, that's all right. I didn't have to speak to somebody, and so there's so much of this right now with, the kids of today. They are on their phones all the time. They'll be walking in a group, not even knowing basically that everybody is there and acknowledging each other, but they're all on their phones and they'll be texting each other,
Sitting next to each other.
Say again?
They sit next to each other and send each other texts. They don't actually talk to each other.
Exactly. And while this may not be the case for, all young people and young adults out there, that it seems to be what the trend has been. And so now, while we've still got that, what has been removed is the fact that we actually can no longer do physical contact with people. And now that that's been taken away, like I mentioned in another video, it's almost like we now want it because we've been told we can't have it.
Yes.
And now that we want it and we can't have it, now we're like, there must be a way for us to actually get this back. Now we're actively trying to find ways to connect with people. And I think, isn't that amazing?
Yes, I do. I think I would love that to be the case, because I've read so much about like teenage suicides and things where, they don't learn how to communicate because they do this social media type of communication, and they lose the empathy and the body language and all the things, the social cues of, is this a good place or a bad place, or a happy person or an angry person, or do they really love me? They said something, but I couldn't tell whether they really love me because I was looking at a text rather than something else. And it's like, maybe we could start teaching, through this process, there's another opportunity for helping people feel better about themselves and learn more social. I don't want to use the social etiquette's the word I'm thinking of, but it's
skills.
It's skills, isn't it? Yeah. Because I see people, they're on the ferry with the most beautiful scenery and they're all on their Facebook looking at screens, not looking at the window, and they're at cafes with beautiful scenery and lovely food, and everyone's got a face, they've got their phones in front of them, and I'm thinking, why do people come out with each other if all they want to do is talk on the phone?
It's because we've been told that that's what we should do as humans. We should get out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. They're getting it. All right.
Yeah.
They can't be bothered cooking, so they get someone else to cook it for them.
Well, exactly. So we were talking earlier about the fact that you've been getting into the kitchen and you've been preparing really nice meals. I mean, I imagine that that's something that people could actually go back to. Pizza deliveries they're getting left outside on your doorstep. No one's giving you your pizza in your hand anymore.
No. I mean, I've been going to a lovely farmers market, and they've got to the point where they're not sure whether they're going to be able to stay open, because I love going and seeing the food and picking it up and going, right, that's a beautiful ripe avocado or aubergine, or you kind of smell it and touch it, and then you think, ooh, who's touched it and all that kind of stuff. So now they're in brown paper bags, which is good, so we don't have plastic, but you can't see what you've put. And they're at the point where they're saying, look, we'll deliver to your gate. So again, you've got this lovely service being offered, and it's a way of keeping that business in business, but you've lost the connection of knowing what's a good piece of food, good raw and safe natural ingredient to take home and cook into a meal. But I've been a bit slack, actually. I post things on Facebook about what I've been cooking, but I've been doing really easy things like frittata kind of stuff. So it's got lots of veggies and garlic.
Very easy.
And really, really easy. And I mean, I suppose that's if people hate cooking, it's an easy way to cook. You just chuck everything in, and then throw some eggs and some cream if you want to make it yummier. And then it tastes really, really good. And you filled it with all these amazing things, and you can sprinkle more yummy things like a bit of sauerkraut on the side, or some hemp hearts, or some healthy oils and things, and just make it sing, make lots of bright colors, and it's fun. And you kind of get there with the sharp knife and the board and rhythm, and listen to some nice music, and or a video that you're watching. You can kind of semi-watch a video and chop it at the same time. And then you get some firewood and light the fire and sit there and sort of have a nice comfy bowl and put your feet up on the sofa and watch the fire and eat this yummy food. And it's actually a lovely, it's a celebration of life, really.
And brings us back to being really mindful in our moments. You know, if we cast our minds back to 3 weeks ago, you know, we were back before all this happened. We were on the run, eating on the run. Some of us, fast foods, quick fixes. Grab a chocolate bar, grab a protein bar, munch it as you're driving in traffic, racing to get to your deadline meetings, anything that you've got going on. And now we're in that situation where we're like, can't do that anymore. So now what do I do with my time? But part of health, and part of when you're eating, and part of, you know, being able to, your body to be able to digest and assimilate food is, you know, what it is that you're eating. So I would love you actually at the end to, once I've posted up this video, I'd love if you feel like it, just, you know, put up a beautiful photo of this frittata that you're talking about, or go and make another one, you know, and maybe just put a little recipe down, you know, and just something basic, you know, a little bit of maybe, you know, some hemp, or, you know, whatever it is that you're wanting to add to it, then people might be like, oh, okay, that's actually not too hard, and maybe I can step out of my comfort zone. A lot of people potentially don't even use kitchens anymore because we don't have time to use our kitchens. You know, we get prepackaged, you know, food. I'm trying to think, I can't now think of the company names, but you know, where you can order online and it rocks up, you know, and 5 minutes later you've got your meal. No cooking, or, you know, whatever. And so we've really got to, so if you're up for that, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. And then, you know, so it's not only what we're eating, but it's how we're eating. So, you know, if we're eating on the run, or if we're racing around, and if we're not sitting down, if we're standing up and eating, if we're working and eating, then that's not going to be health. You know, we're not being healthy. It's who we're being when we're eating. You know, are we somebody who's busy shouting at our kid because they're doing X, Y, Z, and we're busy eating while we're trying to answer an email? You know, that's not who we're being right in that moment. Isn't the healthiest version. You know, it's where we're eating. Are we eating on the run? Are we just grabbing something from a gas station, you know, and a pie, for example, and just munching that? You know, there's just so many aspects to any of this, you know, and how we're eating, and are we just shoving the food in and swallowing big clumps down? You know, if we do that, if we're not chewing it properly, that food it's wasted. It goes in, it goes out, it gets stored as fat. It doesn't get, you know, we don't get access to those nutrients. It's not good for us. So I think what the point that I got from what you were saying was that if you can sit down, and if you can put your feet up in front of the fire, if you've created this beautiful environment around you in which to eat, where there's beauty and there's warmth and there's comfort and there's a sense of peace and contentment and all these other positive words that you can put in there, and you've got this beautiful meal that you've put together, you've got a sense of ownership around that, you're empowered to make those meals, and it tastes divine. So you're eating with all your senses right now, and you've got time, because there's no email right now, because no one is working or can work, or, you know, it's limited at least. You don't have other people around you necessarily, you know, who are wanting something from you. So you can just sit and you can just breathe and eat.
Yeah. I think when I was in my Wellington life, I was doing 2 jobs, and I was driving in traffic, and I was eating at my desk, and then I'd get in the traffic, and then I'd go home, and then I'd go out for tea because I was too tired to cook. And I got to this point where I thought, I can't keep doing this. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to pump Simon's course for Wheels of Health, but basically it was life-changing in June last year. And it made me look at the things I was doing. It made me focus more. And I'd given up cooking for about a year after a relationship breakup, where I'd focused on that person, 3-course gourmet meals every night for him. And something in my brain broke, and I went, I can't cook anymore because I don't want to cook for me. And so when I joined up with the 4 Wheels Health course, I got inspired to eat again, because I got inspired to cook, and I got told, you need to eat these things. And I suddenly thought, I know all this. It was like everything I knew, but it was packaged in a way that was easier for me to take on board. And I suddenly found, cook the rainbow, eat the rainbow. And I was enjoying just going through that rhythmic chopping, just giving myself the time and giving myself the permission to make myself a packed lunch of a beautiful salad and sit down and chew it for 20 minutes. Yes, it did take 20 minutes to chew, but that's what we're supposed to do. It's like you say, if you don't chew it, it just goes straight through. You don't notice you're eating it. You don't feel full, so you just put more in, and then you eat more. You don't do any exercise. You don't have any sunshine. You feel miserable, and your boss doesn't thank you for the fact you didn't actually work as hard as you could have, because your mind really wasn't working, your body wasn't on it, and you were just going through the motions at the computer. And so I kind of, I don't know, it was like this epiphany, and I thought, I've known all the right things to do, I've just not been applying them. And so I thought, right, exercise, but exercise in a way that's good for me, that doesn't hurt me, that I'm not just trying to do it. And let's just focus on getting the food right, and get maybe not the portion sizes right, but the kind of ingredients right, and just love the food, love making it, make it with love, and eat it with love, and share it with love to other people. And just the reactions from other people when I showed them my food was just amazing. People were saying, you're so inspiring. And I wasn't doing it to inspire people. I was doing it because I just thought it was beautiful. And so it kind of makes you kind of feel a bit like you want to cry, because you think, wow, I didn't realize so many not unhappy people out there, but just they could be happier, they could be healthier. And I don't want to be preachy. I want them to feel the good feelings that I have. And so I've tried to do, we can't do dinner parties anymore, but I've tried to show that you can have a dinner party with the healthy food, and everyone eats yummy food, and you can eat decent sized servings and still not, you're not actually putting on the weight or being unhealthy. And so I think this whole being in isolation and the opportunities for trying to eat more healthily, we need to, so that we've got our resistance up as well. But we can't go to the takeaway place so easily. So let's try to get the healthy fresh veggies and make something yummy and have a nice piece of steak or tofu or tempeh or chicken or fish or whatever it is that we can get. We aren't running out. That's what the government's saying. We're not going to have no food. We just need to not go and have it in a giant group sitting with lots of other people. Wash our hands before it and afterwards. And I'm sort of conscious I'm rambling all over the place with lots of topics.
No, I think it all comes down to if you are not healthy, not only is it not the best optimum state that you could be in as a person before the virus, but now with the virus, you want to be as healthy as you can. So you don't want to go and lower your immune system. You want to make sure you're getting enough sleep. You want to make sure that you're drinking enough water. You're wanting to make sure that you are doing whatever it is that you can, because that is within your control right now. The virus is kind of external. It's kind of outside of your control to some extent. You can control what you're doing, but you can't necessarily control what everybody else is doing. You can hope that they're doing what they should be doing. But if you're feeling out of control, or you're feeling anxiety, or if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to deal with this, the one thing that you can control is what you do. So it's what you think, what you feel, what you believe, what you say, what you do, any of those kind of things. And if you can focus on your health and the health of your family and those people around you, then you've got to be getting yourself into a better place to be able to fight any virus that comes along, right? And I actually think the good thing about the 4 Wheels of Health as well is that you don't need to attend anything. You can actually do it all online. I might, between us, I might get you, if you want to, just plug the link. So if anyone is interested in the 4 Wheels of Health, it can be done from anyone in New Zealand, can also be done from anywhere in the world. And if anybody does feel like they're needing something right now. Like, how do I sleep more? How do I improve my gut health? How do I eat better? How do I do all these things? Because right now, this is as good a time as any to sort out your health, right?
And there is actually another course coming up as well. I mean, neither of us are making any money out of this, by the way.
Yeah.
Hasten to add. I'm passionate about it. It changed my life, and I think Simon Gold and Robertson they're just amazing. The passion that they've got, enthusiasm for helping us and wanting to help us have better lives and reversing diabetes, symptoms and medication and requirements and just clear-headedness, more energy. I'm still not perfect with it. I lost 19 kilograms.
Wow.
And I've kept it off since July last year. And so, I just can't believe it. I can't believe I'm wearing size 10 jeans. It's
Wow.
like,
I don't wear size 10 jeans. That's amazing.
it's like 18s before that. And I didn't realize I was as big as I was. I didn't care. I wasn't unhappy, but I'm like this super happy person. I go around strutting around sort of wearing tight clothes going, look at me, look at this.
Look at my body.
Myself.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like a bit of a show off, but I want to show it off because it's like magic. It's like, it was so easy to do. Yes, there was a few hard, the first week was a bit hard, but as you learned and got the hang of it and watching everybody else's reactions and how their results, that they all lost similar amounts of weight and did so well. And I just, that the joy and the confidence that people have got just it's absolutely incredible. Just puts a big smile on my face and a wee tear in my eye. But I suppose there was one other thing I just wanted to cover that's kind of how I am. Like I'm a positive person, but I sometimes act positive, and people don't realize that there's Jenny that's a little bit kind of not quite as brave behind all of that. And so I'm conscious that I'm a lucky person. Now I have a house, I don't have a mortgage, but I do have to have an income, and I have to pay for groceries, and I'm a long way away, so I pay a lot of petrol to get to my groceries and things like that. And they're simple things in life. It's not the end of the world if I can't get them. Eventually I won't be able to grow veggies in my garden because it's so cold and wintry, and I will have to buy veggies from somewhere else, but maybe I can swap something with somebody else. That it isn't going to be the end of the world for me, but I still worry about it. I still worry about things like my bank investment. I sold my house last year to move here, and it's sitting in a bank account that the amount went from there to there just overnight, and it frightens me to see that. And I feel guilty that I'm frightened of that I'm so this is the emotional bit of me, that I'm not perfect either, but I don't want to say that, because there's people who are losing their businesses. I've got friends that have had cancellations on all the different things that they do. There's so many different people are affected by this, and I am the lucky one. And if there's anything I can do to help people, that's what I want to do. And I'm conscious with you, Laura. You're there listening to people in their times of need, but we might need a hug as well every now and then, I guess.
Shall we virtual hug? Virtual hug. Wow, thank you.
But I think there will be people out there that might feel like us as well, that we're being strong for other people. And I've got other things I won't say online that I might talk to you later about, but and they are the guilt gene. It's like I want to help, but I can't help. I need the energy for myself as well, because I have to survive this. I've got to find a way to survive through as well. But I want to finish on a positive note. I don't want to.
No, and I think so with what you said, I think it's so courageous to step into that vulnerable space, where you do get emotional, and you need to understand that it's, still look beautiful. It needs to, I think we all need to understand that while we may appear strong on the outside, there is a certain percentage, whatever that is, within us that is not okay. And we need to be honest and transparent and authentic with ourselves as we step into this really vulnerable, scary space, and just go, at some point, if I'm not okay, I'm gonna have to talk about this with somebody, because I don't want to see personally that throughout this process that New Zealand's suicide rates increase, that our mental health occurrences with depression and anxiety and PTSD and anything else, I don't want to see that this increases. It will. But for me, if I can do my bit to say, hey, everybody, together we are strong, we can do this, we've got each other, let's just do this one day at a time. Let's not have survivor guilt, let's all understand that we're all coming from different walks of life. This is where we've all been, and it's okay. Yes, there is always somebody who is worse off than ourselves. There always is. Okay, we cannot feel guilty about that, but at least I don't think we can feel guilty about it. My belief is that we can't feel guilty, we shouldn't feel guilty about that. However, what can we do with the resources that we have that somebody else doesn't have? What can we do to help them? Because we're talking about the survival of the human race if we want to become apocalyptic, right? This is about everybody. This is not about you saying I was the sole survivor on the island. Well, go you didn't help anybody. What worth are you as a person now? It's more in these times that we're experiencing, in these times of need and the time of chaos, and with people kind of being stoic and being okay, but actually crying inside and dying inside because they don't know how to be, is how do we acknowledge it within ourselves and then go talk about it with people and be like, hey, to your husband, to your wife, whatever it is, geez, I'm actually I'm having a really down day. I'm feeling really awful. Toby, who was on my recording before, said that it hit home for her when she walked into the supermarket and saw that there was a whole bunch of empty bread shelves. That then was her thing that kind of went, oh, this is
it's really, yeah.
And then we all have a moment where it almost becomes surreal, because how is this possible that this is happening? But the fact is, it is happening, and so so don't feel guilty about it, because you've worked hard to get yourself to the point, and you've had whatever happened in your life to get yourself to the point that you are. But now, how do you help? Do you contact the retirement villages, and do you say, hey, have these guys got cell phones? Can we get their loved ones to set up a cell phone that has got the ability to video? They might not be on Facebook, they might. So is there a way, potentially this is something you could look at if you're looking to help, is why don't we tap into that resource? We've all got communication. What about if we were to find out if the family members are in contact? Have you got the ability to video? Do they want to, you mentioned the elderly gentleman with your friend, I think, who was visiting him every week. Maybe they can set up a video call, and let's help educate our older generation as to this.
How do you,
because then they don't feel so lonely. Nobody wants to feel lonely. Nobody wants to feel isolated. And when you're older and you're more alone and your friends aren't around you anymore and your family doesn't come and see you as much, then how do we as a community connect with these people? If we can't do it face to face and physically, there must be another way that we can do it. And perhaps you're the person for that.
Yeah, I'd like to think that I can try and do something. One of the things I'm conscious of, like with my father, I've tried really hard to connect with him on Facebook, and he is a computer literate person, but he's got to the point where his eyesight's not so good and his hearing's not so good. So telephone is useless. My internet connection's not great, so the telephone which works over it is even worse, and he just doesn't want to look at the computer anymore. And so that's going to be a difficult thing if there's anyone else in a similar situation. But it must be possible to try and, I don't know, I'm a singing person, so maybe if there's a way I could stand from a distance and sing to people, because I've got a group of people that I was singing with that we now can't sing because we're not allowed to be in a group, but maybe we could all stand separately and sing our separate parts and provide some joy that way. But yeah, I think all of those things, just to try and just give some people something to hold on to look at, to just brighten their day, if that's, or even if it's just delivering something to someone to their gate that, you know, that they can't get out. But yeah, I'm happy to do any of those things. It's good. Yeah.
So just in closing then, if you just had a little sentence that you wanted to leave our audience with, what would that be?
It's about staying positive. I think believe in yourself and just do things. Be kind to yourself and be kind to your family and your friends, and cherish yourself in the ways that you can. They're just simple things. Have a bath, eat nice food, enjoy your food, enjoy the chances that you've got to have time with yourself, and do the things that you haven't been able to, that you know work didn't let you, or your lifestyle didn't let you. But don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, it is out there. There will be people out there that can help you. And just be strong. Kia kaha.
I love that. I love that. Jenny, thank you so much for coming on my page today. Really appreciated it. It is quite a long video, so I'm hoping. Yeah, and we were like, I think it'll be about 15 minutes. We'll be fine. Well, we've gone way over that. So hopefully people do see it through to the end, because I think you've given some really, really awesome things for people to think about, especially about how to look after their health. So don't forget, do post up that video. I mean, not the video, the frittata recipe.
I will.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. And let's get that out there. You know, let's get people still looking at their health and focusing on that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. See you then. Bye.